Hello, dear friends, my lovely audience. Welcome to the East West Show. Name is Jack Chow, your host on the GNE TV with GNE TV with the EDI on the East West Show. From East West, the name tells, right? We'll look from a wide, broad angle. We look at everything now. Speaking about California, it is characterized by its many beautiful cities. One of the beautiful cities that we really talk about is Downey City. Downey, D-O-W-N-E-Y, a beautiful name, beautiful city that I know about 30-something years ago. And I recently paid a visit because we had a big concert done there in the theater, recreation center of that large theater, very beautiful theater, by the way, with large parking all around it. That's one of the benefits. So Downey City gives me the idea, why don't I invite the one to represent Downey, that is the mayor of Downey City, Mr. Ashton, to come here on the show. Now, here it is, Mayor of Downey, Mr. Ashton. Welcome to the show, please.
Thank you for having me. It's my honor, my pleasure to be here.
All right. And I'm so flattered. Upon my first invitation, you accepted. Right?
Absolutely, yes.
Normally, I have to go around, and I may get you. When I get you, and I get even instructions say, call this number, which is my office, and I call, and I get somebody, or I get a scheduler. Your scheduler will arrange or not arrange. That's the routine, normal routine.
Yeah.
And I call you. The number you gave me, by the way, is your cell phone number, right?
Yep.
Okay. And got you right away. I got a confirmation right away. And here I have Mayor of Downey, Ashton. My dear friend, my dear audience, I'm not joking. I'm not criticizing anybody. I'm just saying this is the type of mayor we want to have because it's available. Good or bad, he's available, right?
I want to be able to be there for my residents, and when people ask of me things, I feel that it's rude that I would try to put it off.
You're right.
If there's a legitimate reason that I can't be there, I will make arrangements to make sure that I can do what I can to fulfill what needs to be taken care of.
You know what, Mayor Ashton, I like the style. I may not say, hey, Mr. Ashton is good mayor already before I started talking to you, right? I say to audiences openly and willingly that it is a style I like first already.
Thank you.
How you convince people. For example, you and me and Jack sit here for 5 minutes already, only, right?
Yep.
All together. How do you know I'm a good guy or a bad guy?
Pretty much it's just the conversation. You can kind of pick up on things.
Yeah, you're right, right? You're right. And then you may give your conclusion a little later. Right now, you see, oh, I like Jack already because I like his opening line, something like that. I like your opening line, Mayor, honestly. Right?
Thank you.
On behalf of my audiences like me, they buy me as a good guy, honest guy. I would say that Downey Mayor is the mayor I like, I wish to have. It is also because, as a side effect, because I've been ignored. Sometimes the time of election, you have all kinds of people. You have all kinds of people trying to reach you now. And then, after they take office, you never find them.
I've seen those people. I don't want to be one of those people because, I mean, I look at my job. I'm an elected city council person for the city of Downey. Mm-hmm. I rotated into the mayor position this year. Like a lot of local cities in our area, we have a mayor that's elected by the council members, and they serve as mayor for that year. And with the city of Downey, that's how we do things. But my primary job is a teacher. I teach 5th grade for LA Unified School District. I've been teaching for 20 years.
We'll talk about your teaching job later as
Absolutely.
a second subject, which is also equally important to me. All right.
But just to tie in, when I talk to parents, I expect the same, that they want to be able to talk to their teacher. They don't want me to delay and push off. And it's the same thing with my constituents. I want to make sure that I'm there for them because they elected me.
That is a very, 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 I would say, healthy way. I call it healthy because it does ruin you if it's not right. I'm not saying that. Okay, now at the show East Resto, we never criticize people. If you ever see any time that Jack criticizes anybody, this is my criticism. This is the way I criticize. I raise you up because that's the way I like, and I criticize the counterpart, who gave me a number, say, call me anytime, all right? I call, says, that number never existed.
Well,
I can prove it right away. All right, good. Anyway, that is my criticism, all right? So much for that, okay? All right. Or I have to cancel the show for the whole thing. Very good. Now, for the city of Downey, every time we introduce a city, we talk about its people, its land, and its money. And last thing is housing, right? How do you introduce your city to people, to my audiences? It's land, it's people, it's money, and it's housing, please.
Okay. Well, Downey is a city in Los Angeles County. We're in the southeast portion of the county. The size of the city is approximately 113,000 people. It's approximately 12.9 square miles. One of the things that makes Downey unique is it's one of the few cities in LA County that still has their own police and their own fire departments.
Oh, I see.
So we take pride in the fact that with our Downey Police Department or Downey Fire Department that it's controlled by the City Council. We also have our own school district. We have our own city library. We're very unique in the sense that not a lot of cities are able to provide those types of services for their residents, but we take pride in being able to do that for our residents. And we do that with a balanced budget as well. That's the main thing, because we want to make sure that if we're going to spend money, it's money that we actually have. And so we've had a balanced budget for the past 5 years straight, and our budgets have been awarded for best budget practices.
Wow.
For the past 3 years.
Oh, I
so
see.
it's something that we take a lot of pride in the city of Downey.
And reserve for the rainy days?
We have approximately 29 million in reserves, which is pretty healthy, approximately 35% of our budget, which is, we want to make sure that in case we do have a downturn in the economy, we can still provide those services for
that
our
size of
residents.
a reserve for a city of a population of 113,000, well, I would say you're healthy. I would say you're healthy compared to other cities who are about your size and yet have much less money in reserve, though.
Yes.
I say that you are pretty much on the safe side. Right?
We want to make sure that we're fiscally conservative in the sense that we don't want to be spending money that we don't have. Like,
I've been here in Southern California for 34 years. And the second year upon my arrival, I had one visit to your city. And of course, I remember the old Downey. That's for 34 years ago, right? And a week ago, I repaid a visit to your city, and I was caught in surprise that everywhere I go, the street, the restaurant, the parking lot, even the food. All right. So the big change, the big difference is how much you want to claim for the city leadership, for the people, for the police department, for everybody, please.
So with the past 10 years or so, we've been making a marked effort to revitalize Downey. So Downey, was starting to look a little bit drab, 10 plus years ago. We wanted to improve our downtown area, so we worked on getting new businesses to come to the downtown area, and so we brought in a Porto's Bakery, which is a great family-run business that originated out in Glendale, and so we were their third store that they opened up in the Southern California area, and that store has kind of helped revitalize the downtown area. We now have a lot more eating establishments. We have a gallery, an art gallery that's in the downtown area as well, and it's really brought a lot of business to the downtown area.
And you're a theater, of course. That's all big landmark.
Yeah, so our Downey, it was actually built in I want to say the early 70s. It was the Downey Children's Theater at the time, and it was meant to be used by the school district for children's performances throughout the different schools. But it's kind of morphed into what we have now, which is a theater that we do. We do music shows. We have film screenings. we do a lot of variety of different shows. So I know we have John Tesh coming in pretty soon, who's going to do a show. We had your New Year's program that was going on. We usually have the Mariachi Divas come around Christmas time. I know we have the voices of the cartoon series, the Animaniacs, back. It's about a 30-year-old show, but they're coming in as well. Just so we have a big variety of different activities that are going on.
All right, very good. Thank you for your introduction. My dear audience, about a week and a half ago, we, EDI Media, had our New Year concert at Downey City with their beautiful art center. I was quite impressed about that center. It's a very, very well maintained, reserved. Even though the equipment might represent those years back when it was built, though, it was very well maintained, very well managed. I like that part. Even the doorman, the usher system, they reserve as the old way, traditional way. I like that part.
Yes.
Right? With me today is my good friend, Mr. Sean Ashton, Mayor of City of Downey. Let's take a very short moment now. When we come back, we'll continue finding more about Downey. I know Downey as a city also very convenient by traffic. I mean, all the freeways, right?
Yes.
Okay, let's touch that part when we come back, please. Hello, dear friends, my lovely audiences, my dear fellow Angelinos. Welcome back to the city of Downey. Right? Downey City belonging to LA County. It is the city, of course. Even though belonging to LA County, they have their independent systems. At least they have the police structure. They have their own fires, right? They have their own everything. With the mayor, Mr. Sean Ashton, I'm very proud to present to you great city of Downey that I was so surprised to see the difference with my own eyes, right? Good, yes. Right. Thank you for the hard job, hard work, right? I understand that you are not taking a rotation system. You are doing an election among the city councils, am I right?
Well, for the city council members, we do elections. So the council members are elected for city council. But the mayor position, we rotate amongst the council members. So a lot of cities in LA, actually a lot of cities in California will rotate the mayor amongst the city council members. A few of your larger cities, like Los Angeles, will actually have an election for the mayor. But for a lot of your smaller cities, they rotate the mayor amongst the council members.
So you rotated mayorship?
Yes, so I just rotated into being mayor in December. And so I'll serve as mayor for 2018.
18, for a year and a half?
For about a year.
For about a year. Oh, very good. And I wish you keep up the good work. So far, your city looking so good. Looking so wonderful. And I like the city being so convenient when traffic is concerned. If you are commuting, you're traveling though, it is by 5, 605, 60?
More like probably the 710 and the 105.
105,
yes.
And it's all around in the middle.
Yep.
Am I right?
Yes.
Okay, very good. And how is your shopping conditions? How close are you to which shopping centers?
So we have our main mall, Stonewood Center, and that is pretty much right smack dab in the middle of the city of Downey. Probably the easiest way to get to it would be off the 605. But we also have two new developments that we've opened up, the Downey Landing and the Downey Promenade, and those are closer to the 105. So if you were going to get off of Lakewood Boulevard at the 105, you could drive north on Lakewood, and you would get to both of them.
Oh, I see. You have your promenade?
So we opened up the promenade about a year and a half ago, close to 2 years ago, and it's doing great business. There's a Walmart in there. We have a Benihana's. We have a Lazy Dog Cafe. We have a brand new Cinemark theater with reclining seats. A lot of different eating establishments. And there is the next store that's supposed to be opening up pretty soon is a Burlington Coat Factory. We have a TJ Maxx and a Home Goods in there as well. So it's quite a variety of different shopping for there.
I was amazed when I saw your city center, though. The center of your city, right? It is very, very vitalized, and the traffic is very well arranged. I would say. Especially, I was so amazed about the parking conveniences. All right. So, how about with that said? How about housing? I always check every time when I got a chance to talk to a mayor, though, or a council member. I always check about their living conditions, which is housing.
So we are pretty much a built-out city for the most part, in the sense that there's not a lot of places that we can provide new housing. What we do, we're trying to put in a way that it is beneficial to not only the new homeowners, but to the residents as well. We want to make sure that while we're adding new housing, we're not forgetting about the residents that are already here. Because we want everybody to get along, we want everybody to be happy.
Mm-hmm. And that means that to a city your age, though, I believe Downey is a little older city than when compared to the newer ones, right?
Yeah, we just had our 61st anniversary.
Yes, 61 years is really quite a lot of years.
Yeah.
For example, West Covina is only 50 years, right?
Yeah.
So, and it depends who you compare to. Pasadena, of course, over 100 years. That's a different story. To Rosemead, to El Monte.
Yeah.
You're talking about Downey being a very adult city.
Yeah.
So you already have what you're supposed to have. And then you are still meeting the demands of the citizens, while at the same time there are newcomers coming your way, though.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
How about land developing? There lots of open land to develop further?
Not a lot. So again, we're a built-out city, so most of the land spaces are taken. A couple of things that are coming up. We do have on the back part of the promenade, we do have about 20 acres that we're looking to bring in a 4-star hotel to help, hopefully with some convention space to bring people to come to the city, not just for the day, but for the weekend, and then for the week, so we can get smaller conventions to come in to do, to have their conventions there as well. We also have an area of property that's in the southwest portion of the city that's owned by the County of Los Angeles that has been underutilized for a while, and the county is going to be developing new buildings there as well, and they've given us 5 acres so we can build a multi-use sports complex. So we're looking to create more green space for our residents, create more places for our residents to be able to play soccer or football or lacrosse, but also provide an area where the county is going to provide more jobs for the residents.
Yeah, I do agree with one fact, that yours is a city that has tradition, and that has room for further development, and there are room for newcomers, and the city ready to go all the way.
Yes.
Am I right?
Yes.
Okay. And also, on the other hand, though, for the past years, we've never heard two good stories about Downey. Neither do we have heard any bad stories about Downey, right? That is, the city is very stable.
Yes.
I don't like excitement over one day and the next day I see a corpse in front of my door. No, I don't want that kind.
Yeah.
I want stability. How do you as a mayor interpret the word stability for a city?
For me,
I know that's very important to some people,
I mean, we want to make sure that our residents are being taken care of. So our residents expect a certain level of work to be done in the city, whether it be making sure our roads are fixed, making sure that our police are out protecting the residents, making sure our fire department is out providing the services that they need to do. If basically a day where somebody doesn't complain about something is kind of a stable day when you think about that fact, but because there's always going to be somebody who's going to want to say something that you need to fix, which is okay. We want to know about those things, but the main thing is that when our residents are taken care of, we know things are going.
That's
in the
a
right
good
direction.
way to learn if you provided a satisfaction to the city, to the citizens, right?
Yes.
The more you hear from them as unsatisfaction, of course, more work to do. The more you say, hey, good job, that's another call. All right. Now that you mentioned about your police department, you mentioned about your total population.
Yes.
To match with the total population, always find out how many police officers you have as your own department.
So we just passed a citywide state tax, or citywide tax for sales tax, and that allowed us to hire 10 more police officers, and so now our total police officers is 122 sworn officers.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Because you have 113 and you're planning on 120. That is more than 1 per thousand.
Yes.
Right, more than 1 per thousand. 1 per thousand, that is a target for many cities.
Yeah.
That is the ideal state for many cities to work for, yet they can't.
Yeah.
Yet they can't. And I say congratulations, a huge congratulations to you. You surpassed that level.
And you know, our goal with our police, we don't want our police to be reactive. We want them to be proactive. We want them to be able to go out and find the people that are doing things that they shouldn't be doing.
Yeah, you're right.
Not waiting for things to happen and then working backwards.
Yeah, you have more hands than the 1,000 per. That means that you have time to do prevention, or otherwise you're
Yes.
only responsive. Right?
Yes.
All right, my dear audience, we're talking about a big difference between irresponsible to responsible to responsive to protective or to prevention.
Yes.
There is a difference in between every 2 words, right?
Yes.
So I appreciate this opportunity to share this concept with my dear friend, Mayor of Downey, Sean Ashton. We're touching base with the city, all aspects, bring you a picture, overall picture about the beautiful city of Downey. My dear audience, let's take a very short moment now. When we come back, we will have to pick the other side of my friend Sean Ashton as a school teacher who I respect a lot. How about that? Stay with us. Hello, dear friend, my lovely audience. And ladies and gentlemen, my dear audience, you are important. You are welcome back to my show, East West Show. From East West, we care about everything around us. If there is a big city, we want to introduce you to the big city. If there is a big man, we want to introduce you to the big man. How about a big man representing a big city? That is my friend, Sean Ashton, Mayor of Downey and the teacher of your kid. Could be, all right. So once again, welcome back to the show.
Thank you for having me.
All right, good. I respect teaching. I respect teacher because my principle is that no matter who you are the product of your teacher. You see me, you see my teachers, right? Yeah. Because I'm the product they taught.
Yes.
Right? They taught me the way I am, right? Good. If you are teaching everybody the way that I thought I was taught off, though, and you're a good teacher, something like that, right? How do you on the job interpret the word teaching, please?
So for me, teaching is not just ABCs and 1, 2, 3s, because that's really easy for students to pick up. You can get a student to remember their alphabet, learn how to read words, learn how to solve 2 plus 3. The thing is getting students to critically understand what we want out of them. So when we're looking at our students today, we're teaching to students to hopefully have them ready for the jobs of tomorrow, not just the jobs of today. And a lot of what we're doing now is trying to get them to critically think, make sure that they're not just answering the question, but explaining how they got that answer. And if possible, is there another way to come up with that answer? A better way, maybe a worse way, but at least different ways, so that way students are able to not just come up with an answer, but be able to understand what they're actually doing. And that's been my philosophy of teaching for 20 years now.
Oh, exactly. 20 years teaching.
I've been 20 years.
No wonder you can be a mayor. I would say that 20 years of experiences in teaching takes a good part of it, takes a good credit of it. All right. Give you a challenge that I used to share with my friends, right? Okay, now, at school, we could teach our kids the quality, number 1, the skills, number 2, the ability, number 3. You see the three different words, right?
Okay.
How do you, if you have a choice to emphasize on the three, which any one of the three though, is it a quality or is it skills or is it ability? Way more.
So when I look at ability, ability is something that students just, it's what they normally come with to me. So when at the beginning of the year, a student's ability, they've already got that. Skills are something that they should have a genuine or a general concept of when they come to me. You know, as I teach 5th grade, maybe in the lower grades, they're not going to have those skills. But the most important part is quality, because you can get a student to kind of, as I was saying, you can get a student to answer something. But if they don't know how to use it in the real world, then you know, then we're not really teaching. We're just kind of getting them to memorize things. I really don't like having students just memorize things just to memorize. I want my students to be able to critically think. So if I'm going to give them a problem, you know, how do we make this egg drop from a 2nd story without breaking? So we give them the tools, we give them the ability, we let them test it. And then from there, they can look and say, okay, well, did it break? Okay, what can we do to make it better? Did it not break? Okay, now what can we do to make it cheaper to do? Because that's kind of what things happen in real life. You look at all types of technology, you know, first of all, we just need to make it. So, you know, our cell phones. Cell phones used to just be this little thing. You could, you know, maybe get a text and a phone call. Now they're mini computers. And so how do we go from this little one thing to our little mini computers? It's the fact that we're working on how do we do it better. And that's what I try to instill upon my students. I want them to, one, come up with the right answer, but now know what you did, now make it better. And if we're doing that, then when we're in our retirement homes, we're going to be okay.
You know what? I have to address you, Mr. Ashton, because you are now no longer mayor of Downey. You are a teacher, right? Mr. Ashton, I agree with you. I especially agree with you in the fact that you, among the three, you lay quality the first, quality teaching the first. Because why I ask? Because I suffer. As a show host, I suffer a lot. All right. The other day, I read one message on a cell phone saying that a teacher at a graduation, of course, university teacher, a professor at a graduation party says, within 4 years or something, if you are not worth $1 million or $2 million, do not come see me.
That to me is kind of rude.
I was so ashamed. I was so challenged that I felt like a slam on the face as a teacher. So I shared this with as many friends as possible. Now I'm sharing with you, who is a mayor of the city, also as a teacher to school. Do you think that's a way of teaching? Do you think that's a way of teaching quality?
To me, I'm embarrassed for that person. I really am, because for me, I would hope that my students would want to come back and visit me. You know, I mean, not that I want, that I want to force them to come back.
Yet they are not worth $2 million.
Well, no, just hi. You know, how are you? It's good to see you again. That, you know, for me, you know, there's relationships that you're never going to be able to rectify after.
Of course, the teacher does not say that he does not want to seize anybody. He says it's an encouragement to go ahead to make $4 million, something like that. So is it possible everybody make $4 million?
I don't think so, because I don't make it.
If somebody fails to make $4 million, is that a bad guy or bad girl?
Absolutely not. There are a lot of people that do a lot of great things.
That kind of teaching, sir, is leading the wrong way.
I agree.
Do you think so?
I agree.
Oh, thank you for agreeing with me. And I believe that not only Downey need a teacher like that. I believe every kid need a teacher like that. Okay.
That's what teachers should be. Yeah.
All right, another example, because I suffer a lot. When as a kid, if I end up in a fight with a boy somewhere, right? When I came home, I got a hair there, like that kind of thing, right? And I would say, hey, to my mother, and he hit me, right? I mean, you know what my mother say? My mother say, why didn't he hit me? Why wouldn't he hit me? Why he hit you? Do you think that's a good way to ask?
Well, with kids, it's kind of tough in the sense that they're at fifth grade, they're at that age for me where they're kind of thinking that they're ready for middle school, high school, but they're still in the elementary school. I don't encourage kids to fight. There really isn't a place for that.
What my father would say, my father stop that trash. Okay, go fight for your own justice before you come back for your mother. So do you think who teaches right away? My mother says, why wouldn't he hit me? Means you're a bad guy, right? Yeah. you're problematic. And father says, no. Yeah, go fight for your own justice before you come back to see me.
I think there's a happy medium in between those, in the sense that
happy medium, all right.
Because I don't want to encourage kids to fight, because fighting really isn't the way we solve things.
Okay.
And like going back to the teaching thing, I wouldn't want my kids or my students to think that the way to solve their problem is to fight, because that's not what we want our adults to do. Because otherwise, we would need 2,000 police officers for the size of our city, because everybody's getting into fights over dumb things.
You're right.
So, in a sense, what we need our students to be able to do is to communicate, because a lot of issues that happen where fights occur is because there's a misunderstanding. One thing or another, something was misunderstood. And so if we get our students to be able to communicate to each other in a way that is intelligent to themselves and the other person, then we're going to have a lot less issues with fighting as a whole.
I like your sweet between, that kind of analysis. If I could have a cut between my father and my mother, though, I would be a better Jack. I'll be a better Jack myself, all right? I'm okay, but I would only wish that if I had a sweet between, all right? My dear audience, we're touching base with my good friend, Ashton, mayor of Downey and teacher of many of probably your kids, a concept of teaching. It is a very golden opportunity for me to share, I feel that I'm going back to school again. All right, let's take a very short moment now. When we do come back, now we dissect a city and a school, right? A classroom. Now we put it all together. We want to see the overall picture as our society. Are we giving our schools positive information or encouragement, or the contrary? We want to analyze ourselves, right? So stay with us, please. Hello, dear friends. Welcome back to the show. I have to say I'm a little rapacious, because when I get somebody good, though, I want to squeeze him or her again and over again to get as much information as possible. All right. Now I'm doing the same thing to my friend Ashton, mayor of Downey, and a teacher for 5th grade, right?
5th grade, I've been teaching.
5th grade as the biggest job, I would say. On 1, you're teaching adult already. On 2, you're doing everything, right? Okay, very good. Yeah. So that is the one I need to squeeze to find out. Okay. After dissecting our classrooms, our teacher's mind or whatsoever, or even my parents, right? We want to talk about our society. All right. I'm so wondered about our kids. I'm so kind of feel pathetic to our kids, because they are surrounded by information which to me not positive. For example, how do you handle the 3rd bathroom situation? How would you educate your kids about same-sex marriage? How do you explain the word sex to them? I believe a 5th-year student, a 5th-year teacher got to do that. You got to teach your kids what is a man, what is a woman, right? Okay, and what does the legalization of same-sex marriage help you in teaching, so on and so forth. And what do our media, where do they push? So Do these things bother you at all? I see you're very happy.
There are some things that, I mean, there are some things that
Okay.
I'm bothered by with the media in the sense that you get a lot of different reports about the same thing. And so the term fake news has been thrown out quite a bit.
Yeah.
And one thing I try to have my students analyze is what truly is fake news and what is good news or real, I guess for lack of a better word, real news.
All right.
Because there's a lot of, you go onto Facebook and Twitter and you see all these reports about, oh, so-and-so said this, and then the other side of the, the other party, so-and-so said that, and it's all this back and forth based off of somebody makes something up, finds some way to edit it, and they put it out there, and they make it look like it's real, when it's not. It's just meant to incite the public into thinking one way or the other, and it's not based off of fact.
Question is, are the kids immune enough
to
tell the difference?
No, and that's
Right?
one thing that you're
Now
seeing a lot.
it all comes upon the teacher. It is incumbent upon you
Oh, yes.
to let the kids know they are the fake news.
So as you said, like I've actually seen reports in other districts, and I believe they're doing it in LA Unified as well, but like in the middle school, high school, part of the language arts program is where they take real news articles and or fake news articles, and they have the students analyze to see what is truly fake news
What
and what
is
is
true,
real.
what is not true.
And that's part of our new society, if you think about it, because 10 years ago, we didn't have all these different, we didn't have the Onion making all these joke articles meant to be
You
real.
let the kids peel the onion themselves.
Let them get into
Layer
it
by layer
with
see
guidance.
what's in there, right?
Yeah.
And then by dissecting, they learn what to
Yes.
do. Okay, how do you handle the third room bathroom situation?
Well, at our school, we don't have that issue as of yet, but
the issue is there.
It's out there, and I really am not going to be into telling one student, okay, well, this is right and this is wrong, because that's not my place to go. But what they need to understand is if you feel a certain way, then this is you're okay feeling that way, and we need to provide services.
Has any of your students asked you the question, teacher, where am I supposed to go?
No.
No?
No.
Oh, you're fortunate.
Yes.
You're very lucky. And if you are asked, what do you want to answer them?
I would try to answer them as truthfully as possible, based on.
If you have a student like me, Jack, right? And next minute I feel I'm a Jackie, right? So I approach you, say, teacher, I feel I'm Jackie this very moment. Where do you think I need to go? What do I say?
At that time, I would probably have to say, well, let's talk to your parents and let's see what we would need to do.
No, I can't wait. I want to pee myself.
Yeah, well,
I want to pee.
well, and for that immediate time, I'd say, well, where did you go yesterday? And let's keep it that until we can have this conversation.
that's a very
but it
smart
would be
answer.
but I would not impose anything, because that's not my job to impose. You go there, here, you go there. But definitely, you bring in the parents.
At least one thing that you and I got on the same page with is that it is hard to answer. Am I right?
Oh, absolutely. There will never be a correct answer.
Why are we facing such hard to answer question, which comes nowhere, comes from nowhere? That is the thing that bothers me already.
And it's with society, there are people who think certain things that 30 years ago, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, we weren't thinking about.
Never there.
And so now that people are okay with saying these things, now we have to deal with the issues that come with it.
Do you ever in class tell your kids or teach your kids where baby come from?
We don't necessarily get into the how-tos with fifth grade, but we generally will talk about that. Men and women will, when they're married, they can create a baby.
When they're married, they have sex and baby. That's the moment when the baby starts, right?
But we don't teach about
How
sexual
do you
intercourse.
teach a same-sex marriage?
In fifth grade, we don't teach about sex at all. So the one thing that we do instruct is parts of the body.
Has anybody or your student approach you, say, teacher, Mr. Ashton? I can't even fake the question.
Okay, well, I'll tell you. Here's this. I actually walked down the stairs. This is a couple of years back, and I teach on the second story. I'm walking down the stairs, and at the bottom of the first floor there, I see a group of my kids around in a circle, and then there are two of them in the middle, a boy and a girl, and then all of a sudden, they reach in and they kiss each other. I'm like, well, what? So, because I'm these are 10 and 11-year-old kids, so I'm not really used to them. So it's like, okay, you guys don't need to do that here. That's not the place for that. If that's the thing, you need to talk to your parents and let them know, and it's not about.
But you know what I want to say? You know what I want to say? Even that, that was okay to me because that belonged to one category. Yeah. They are only doing it too early.
Yeah.
All right? Now, what if you see two boys kissing each other?
I would probably do the same thing in the fact that, okay, we need to talk to your parents and let, figure out what's going on. That's not appropriate behavior for school.
With that answer, you can be a principal.
Well.
All right. I so cherish this moment of chatting with my friend, Mr. Ashton, Teacher Ashton, of this issue. Also, of course, Mayor Ashton for Downey, and a lovely teacher for 11-year, 12-year-old
20
kids,
years. I teach 10 and 11-year-olds.
Right, 10 and 11.
Yeah.
For 20 years.
20 years.
So.
Yes.
And I would say both jobs are challenging enough, especially when facing a host like I am.
This has been fun.
Who asks all the funny questions, right? But anyway, those are reality.
Yes.
Those are the elements that make your job even tougher.
Yes.
Am I right? Yet, my friend Sean Ashton handles both jobs very successfully, very wonderfully. I'm proud of him. My dear audience, we're a little over time, but excuse me for doing that because I really like this conversation. So thank you for watching. And to my friend Ashton.
Thank you so much. It's been my honor, my pleasure.
Let's hold it for the camera, please.